Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Dennis, and welcome to another episode of Drumfills Kafé. Thank you so much for being there tonight with us. As usual, before we begin, I will invite you to go check out the Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok pages of Drumfills Kafé, to do a like, a subscription, and of course, probably share those pages. Really appreciate it. I will also invite you to go check out drumfillscafe.com, the main webpage, to know all about the content we've done so far in these 12 seasons, interviews, editorials, all the stuff we've done so far, drumfillscafe.com. Go check it out. All right, I'm super excited for tonight's guest because we're going to end the season with her. My guest tonight is one of the happiest drummers you'll ever see behind a drum kit, for sure. Her energy is just infectious and her groove is just so solid. She has toured and played with such artists as Mika, Paloma, Ferry, Kelly Jones, and since 2016, Simple Minds. She is also a drum educator, being part of the recent UK Drum Show in October, and giving online courses through her website. To talk about this and so much more, please welcome the amazing Cherisse Osei.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello, Cherisse.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for take two of this interview.
Yes, we got there in the end.
So how you been? Where I imagine you're in your studio again.
I'm good. Yes, this is my home studio that I'm in now. Yes, I'm in London. I'm in North London. I actually live in Brighton now. I actually moved out of London, but my studio is still here. But yes, I'm here now. In a cold London. It's quite cold at the moment. So
yeah, because we're December. So here, of course, in Montreal, snow. I imagine it's still lovely though in London around this time of the year.
Yeah, we get some sun sometimes, so it's nice when that happens.
Well, let's talk about it. Your career is pretty fascinating. There's a lot to talk about, of course. But long story short, what is it that grabbed you? I believe it was sort of at a young age, basically, that drums kind of grabbed you, if you will.
Yeah, I started playing properly when I was 11. I got my first toy drum kit when I was 5. I think my uncle bought it for my dad just to annoy him, actually, because I think I made a big racket on there. So I'm pretty sure it worked. Yeah, I started drumming at school when I was 11. I heard that there was a drum club starting up every Thursday lunchtime. And for some odd reason, I was just drawn to the drums. I was just really curious and had this weird pull, like a calling almost.
Yeah.
Still can't really explain the reason why, but I was just pulled to them to the drums, and and I remember sitting down for the first time at a proper drum kit, and we're all in a group doing this very simple rhythm. We had one, I think it was a beater we had, not even a proper drumstick, one beater each.
Okay.
Yeah, and we all sat around and everybody got to go on the drum kit, had a turn, and it was just a very simple beat. It was just like it was just that, and the classic feel, that one. And in that moment, I vividly remember that moment, first of all, and then I remember just feeling just so happy, like the happiest that I'd ever felt in my whole life. And it was such a profound moment, and I knew in that moment instantly, I'm going to be a drummer. This is me for the rest of my life. I just felt so at home, and I felt really, really powerful as well. And I'm quite a small person, as in I'm like 5'1", and I was quite a small kid, and so I just for once felt really like I felt powerful and just really happy. So it's from that moment on that I knew that I wanted to be a drummer. And that day at school, I stayed behind just to look at the drum kit. Like after the class had ended, and another girl had also stayed behind, and we got talking, and it turns out that she was in my class, and there was like 8 classes in a year, so it was quite strange that that she was in my class. But we became best friends. I went up to the music teacher and said, can we come back tomorrow to play some more? And he was the nicest teacher who actually became my music teacher, a guy called Mr. Rogers, Dave Rogers,
No.
who was just such a great teacher and just encouraged us and said, yes, girls, whenever you want to come in, you can come, just let me know. And, so so we would come into school. I think we got to school at 7 a.m. So we got there before the teachers. I know we're a bit mental, to be fair. But so we went to school at 7 a.m. The deputy head of our school gave me, and I have to mention my friend who I'm talking about is a drummer called Emily Dolan Davies, who also went on to become a professional drummer.
Okay.
So we got the keys keys to the school from Miss Veach. Shout out Miss Veach as well. She was our deputy head of Drumfills School. Should give them a shout out as well. And came in before the school started. So 7 a.m. practice for an hour and a half. Then we'd go to the music room at lunchtime. And then after school, for 2 or 3 or 4 hours until they kicked us out. And we did this every single day until we left school, basically. And we'd set up 2 drum kits and would practice together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I started I had my first band when I was 13, which was 2 boys in 6th form, and I was in year 8, and I just got hooked. I was just obsessed with music and drumming, and I just loved it. And and then I got I think I was in my first band outside of school when I was 16, which was like a heavy metal band, actually, because I was quite into metal as a kid.
We all sort of had some metal phase at some point, trust me.
The double kick pedal. Yeah. So I was in this band called Mantis, which was my first kind of band outside of school, and we did some toured around Germany and did some big metal festivals. Nice. Yeah, it was actually the guitarist from a band called Venom. Remember Venom from the 80s?
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah,
Venom was okay. So you may or may not know, but in Quebec, metal is huge. I mean, metal is just really huge. So any of these bands from the 80s, from Venom to Nuclear Assault to, name it. Of course, Metallica, when they come to Quebec, Megadeth, it's just huge. So yes, we do know Venom.
Okay. Well, so it was the guitarist Mantis. It was his nice. Like solo project or side project, and the bassist Tony Dolan, who was another, I would say, really big mentor of mine, sort of musically. Right. He was the bass player in Venom, and I think he still is now, actually. But so we, and I was 16 playing with all these older guys who were like, amazing. I guess the 30s and 40s, tattoos, piercing, the lot. So that was a really good experience for me to kind of be in a band and play bigger gigs. And then I got my first big break kind of when I was 17 in a band called the Faders, and I had to leave school. I did my first year of A levels, and then I left school at 17. Okay. And
that's young. That's crazy. That's young to start touring and everything with the Faders.
Yes. Yeah, it was quite like now I know now that I'm the age I am now, I can see that is quite young. I didn't think it was weird at the time, or that I was as a kid you take things as
take things so lightly.
So we got signed to Polydor Records which is part of Universal, and that lasted 2.5 years, and we toured the world. We shot our first music video in the same high school where Grease was filmed, and Britney Spears' "Baby One More Time" was filmed.
No way!
In Venice Beach, that high school there, which I think is still actually a school, a high school. It was a mad experience, and I got to make a living from drums, and that set me on my path to want to be a session drummer.
Well, shout out to the music teachers back in high school and the school, because basically that is often where the spark starts, honestly, because if you don't know any other drummers and musicians around your family, that's where basically you will be exposed to music or anything else. So yes, big shout out to to your music teacher, and for the school to let you go in that early. And I must admit, I have that obsession too, but I don't know if I was that obsessed to get up that early than you. But that's amazing.
I think I was up at like 6 or 5:30 or something to get to school. I know it was a bit mad, but me and Emily thought it was completely normal. But I should also say as well that I started having drum lessons as well when I was 12.
All right. Okay.
Um,
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
yeah. So I had a drum teacher called Rob Stevens, who was
Okay.
absolutely fantastic, and I did my grades with him. Got to grade 8, and now I still have the same drum teacher that I had since I was 15, a guy called Mike Dolbear.
Really?
So he was a big inspiration for me, really helped me, guide me through my career since I was 15. So, and poor Mike, he still has to put up with me now because I still have drum lessons with him, basically. So,
Well, that's
yeah.
cool that you're still with the same teacher. That's amazing. That's amazing because you have imagine it just kind of clicked and just have a rapport with Mike, basically.
Yeah. He's a fantastic teacher, and very lucky to have him. So shout out to Mike Dolbear.
Hello,
Hopefully
Mike.
he'll see this.
So talk to me about being 17 and being in the Faders for those 2 years. That must have been quite an experience at that age.
It was a complete whirlwind. I didn't know what to expect.
Okay.
We were, paid, like I was, really being paid. That was my job, full time. It was, it was a lot of work. It was doing, photo shoots for the artwork. It was video shoots. It was all the interviews. We were on all the big TV shows, Top of the Pops, City UK at the
Nice,
time.
nice. Okay.
And did a lot of interviews, and so we had to learn how to do interviews and deal with the press. And then obviously we had to be good at our instruments. The Faders was a 3-piece, so me on drums, guitarist, singer, and then a bass player, so a 3-piece. We're kind of poppy punky kind of band.
It's catchy. I went to listen to it. It's actually quite catchy. It's quite good, actually. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's on YouTube if anybody is interested.
Yeah.
Quite catchy. And you can see Cherisse having plain old fun and twirling sticks and just hitting the crap out of the drums. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I just knew that at some point, that the band was going to end at some point, just because of the way the pop, the way the pop world is, and nothing lasts forever, and everything has a shelf life. So I made extra effort to work on my performance, and I was always thinking that I want to be hired as a drummer afterwards, which is kind of hence the stick tricks, and I wanted to kind of stand out, and use it as a platform.
Right. No, but yes, in the rock world and in the performance world, doing tricks and just being present and not just looking at your instrument is, of course, part of the performance. It's part of the show, and I think we'll talk about that. But I think in Simple Minds these days, I mean, you do, we can see you. We see your performance, we feel it. I haven't witnessed it this past June, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, you're very present and it's very positive.
Oh, thank you.
So when does the transition from the Faders to Mika? Is he the next artist for you to work with?
Yeah, well, I did actually play with an artist before Mika. So after the Faders, I played with this Swedish folk country band called Kalisa. They were signed to Universal Nashville. So I toured with them for one tour, and then the Mika gig came. And I guess it was, I was looking for session work, and actually my drum teacher, Mike Dolbear, he knew of a few different agents and people that I could speak to. And I reached out, sent my portfolio out to a few different musical directors. And one of them said, I've got this artist called Mika. He's not released yet, because he wasn't released yet. Like, he'd just been signed to Universal, to Island Records, and was looking for a band. And I was 19 at the time, and I went for a chat with Mika, and we just, hit it off and got on really well, and ended up being his drummer. And I was with him for 8 years. But nice. I didn't know that at the time. I just was happy to, be working and being paid to play drums and have a job.
It's the dream. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Living the dream. Yeah. So it was just and that was my start as a session drummer.
It's quite a start, because when Mika came out here again in Quebec, we love music, and Mika was just huge here. And a couple of my friends were like, "Come to the show, and it's amazing." And I remember a friend who went to that show, and she came back saying, "Oh my God, the drummer is amazing. She does and she's did it." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay, so I'll check her out." Not knowing as we're speaking now, that it was actually you. It was you she
Oh,
was talking about. So talk to me a bit about working with Mika and that situation, and of course experiencing, because he was big throughout the world when he came out.
yeah. I mean, it was a wild experience because
Mhm.
we started off. I think our first ever gig was the Borderline, which is in London,
Okay.
and it's a tiny it's a very small music venue, and I think it
Okay.
was literally just a few of my friends and like an old guy and his dog. It was like there was nobody at the
Okay.
gig really because
Cool.
nobody knew who he was.
Right.
He hadn't
Right. Right.
yeah he hadn't released Grace Kelly yet.
Yeah.
He just did I think at that time done a bit of promotion. um but yeah, and we played Scotland, a place called it's called Nice and Sleazy, which is in Glasgow. And I think we actually went out on the streets and said to people, "Do you want a free pint to come and watch this guy?" Because there was no one there, So we went from
Really?
that, yeah. We went
Yeah.
from that to within a space of a year, we were playing in Parc des Princes, the rugby stadium in
Okay.
in Paris, which was 60,000 people,
Right. 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 Okay.
and suddenly Mika was just massive everywhere, and I wasn't home for 8 years. Basically, it
Yeah,
just
I
went
imagine.
mental, and we were
Yeah.
playing the NRJ awards in France. Mika would win, 4 or 5 every year. Mika,
Mhm.
won a Brit Award. Like we were just all over the place. So yeah, Canada, Hong Kong,
Mhm.
Korea, America, UK, Europe, Japan. He was big everywhere. So
Yeah.
it was just it was such a great experience, and like that's when I learned my craft as a session drummer, was from
Okay.
working with Mika, because he he really wanted his band, to be unique and to bring their personalities to
Mhm.
their instruments. And Mika is a very creative person, and he was always pushing boundaries. And the set lists, like the set list wouldn't we, like we'd never stick to the set list. He would just shout out a song. He
Songs,
kept
really?
yeah, it was hectic. It was a big
Wow.
circus.
So you
Yeah.
need to know the songs basically before, yeah, he shouts it out, and it's kind of a bit of a James Brown situation, I think, yeah, or something like that.
Well, he would just change up the set list, and
That
and
that's
then he would improvise within the songs as well.
okay,
He would
okay.
do signals. He would do signals and like go like, like this, and you'd have to stop playing or play more, or so he would but like every gig was different.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
so I learned very quickly how to kind of read people, how to work with an artist and really
Right.
engage with them and work out what they want, for their vision. And Mika let me be me, which was really fantastic. And I
Mm,
think I really developed my personality from working with him.
mm.
Um, like I played the album parts. But I did actually play with him on the second album. On the first album was already done when I joined.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it was Matt Chamberlain on the first, but then you did a few of the tunes
yeah,
on
the
the second
few.
album. Yeah, yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
And yeah, so I just like he wanted us to, be kind of more free with the parts, but still stick.
Mm,
Some things had to be the original part.
mhm.
But yeah, so I got to really, like experiment and come up with some of my own parts, and yeah, he's just such a creative, and for me, that's the kind of that's the kind of band I want to be in. That's the kind
Mm.
of person I want to work with. So yeah, it was just an incredible experience working with him, and I always feel so grateful that I did get to work with him. And
Amazing.
he's such a great person as well. And yeah, I think his music is fantastic. The songs were brilliant. I mean, yeah,
I
what a
can
songwriter.
Yeah, I can sing a couple of his songs right at the top of my head. The Lollipop, Grace Kelly, Blame It on the Girls. I mean, it's in there. They
Yeah,
stick
yeah.
basically. There's really really good pop songs. So yeah. So wow. I mean, how do you 8 years of not being home? How do you deal with that? Is there moments where you're like, oh God, like I have to be professional, or it's just 8 years of just actual fun and it just goes by so fast? How did you process all those 8 years?
Um, I think because it was all going, it was all moving so quickly that there wasn't much time to process what was really going on. It's only
Mm,
when you come home, like we had periods, where we were at home for a few months, perhaps, or a
mm,
month or 2 weeks.
mhm.
And it's only, and in those times you're just resting, like you're
Right.
just sleeping.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much time to
To
really
do anything
process.
else.
Yeah, it was only when like when I changed direction, and Mika changed direction, and I ended up working with Brian Ferry, that I
Okay.
realized how crazy that period was and how much
Mm,
touring we actually did.
mhm.
um but it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed ourselves. But but at the same time, like it was hard work.
Mhm.
Touring is hard work. It's
Yes, it
exhausting.
is. It
It's
is.
late nights.
It
You're on
is.
the move. You're traveling every day. I'm sure yourself what touring's like.
Just
It's
the
a lot.
show, the hour and a half or 2 hours is the fun part. The rest is all
Yeah,
like waiting around, going to the airport,
yeah.
undoing your stuff, making sure you're on time, knowing what's the
Making sure you're
schedule
not lost
like.
any, and making sure
Yeah,
that you haven't lost anything. Because
for sure.
you know,
You still got your drums or cymbals are coming in or not, and what are you gonna do? And what
yeah,
time do we eat? And where is this? And is this the right hotel? I don't remember. Is this last week, yesterday? This was this hotel, or yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
I totally fully understand, and that's what most people that are not musicians don't understand. They think it's just the show itself, but to get to that show, there's a lot. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot of hard work to get to there. So 8 years. That's why I'm asking. 8 years is quite a
yeah.
whirlwind for yeah,
It was, and also I think the other thing is you've got to look after yourself as well when you're on,
yeah,
doing these long tours. And I
yeah.
still use the same methods I did, when I was in my 20s. Just
Okay.
trying to get as much sleep as possible.
Hmm.
Trying to eat as healthy as possible. Drink lots of water.
Hmm.
Like you're going to the gym. You've got to try and keep. As a drummer, you've got to try and keep fit. What we're doing is,
For sure, for
it's a
sure.
sport. It's very physical and it's
Yeah.
physically demanding. So you have to really look after yourself, and also, and obviously, warm up before gigs. Make sure you do stretches afterwards.
Hmm.
Get massages. I've always, gone and got sports massages on
Hmm.
tour, and I
Hmm.
still do. To keep everything working so that you can play.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a lot of that goes on
Like in
behind the
between.
scenes to make
Yeah.
sure that you can do the show and you can do the schedule.
Very nice. Very nice. Like a professional, basically, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, yeah, try to be. That's the aim. That's the aim.
That's all right. Favorite memory, top of your head with Mika in all those 8 years? A show or a recording, something, just out of curiosity before we move on to another artist.
Oh, that's a hard one. There were so many highlights with Mika. I think playing the Parc des Princes,
Mm,
the rugby stadium in Paris, because
mhm,
it was just, it was a huge production. I
mm.
don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a DVD of it
I should go check it
available.
out. Yeah, I'll check it
Oh
out.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
mass. The whole stage was a big clown face. We had people swinging. I think we had some of Cirque du Soleil
Oh,
performing at the top.
okay.
Yeah, we had performers, we had dancers, it was a huge production, and it was just absolutely a circus. It was a complete circus, and it actually was a circus. um and it was just such a big event, and the crowd, I'll just never forget the feeling of 60,000 people just going absolutely nuts and just
Mm,
singing every
the
word.
word.
And
Yeah.
it was, yeah, the adrenaline and the buzz from that day, and how nervous we all were as well, because it's being
No.
filmed for a DVD. This is
Right.
Mika's biggest show to date at that
Okay.
point. We've never done a show of that size before. So, you have to up your game when it's when the show is that big and you're trying to
Mm,
fill a stage like that. So it was, yeah, that was definitely a highlight. It was just, yeah, I'll never forget that gig.
very cool. I'll go check it out. I'll go check it out. Actually,
Yeah,
very
you
nice.
should.
So you're saying basically Mika went to a different direction, and then you moved on to work with Brian Ferry. Talk to me about that transition from Mika to another artist.
Yeah, it was a bit strange, the transition, because I was used to, wearing glittery corsets and dressing up as animals,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
being part of the circus. And I come to Brian Ferry, and he's a lot more, reserved, and,
yeah,
in darker colors, and,
yeah.
that kind of
A
thing,
deeper voice, and
a deeper voice.
not as
And
flamboyant, and yeah.
yeah, not as flamboyant, but
Yeah.
flamboyant in his own way, but it's a completely different style of music.
Hmm.
So I really had to study. I studied the other, the previous drummers. So
Mm,
Roxy Music's drummer Paul Thompson, I really
mm,
studied his parts,
mm.
and
Yeah.
also had to study Brian's other drummers. He's had quite a few drummers over the years, like Andy Newmark,
Oh, nice,
played with
nice, nice.
him,
Yeah, yes,
who,
yes, yes.
yeah, fantastic drummer.
Yeah, yeah.
So just really getting into the detail, and Brian is all about the detail, and actually so was Mika. So actually the transition, yeah, Mika was all about the detail and
Mm,
getting everything right, and really, really working closely with you. And Brian is like that as well. So
Okay.
I think working with Mika helped, helped me with when I, worked with Brian, with that artist temperament. But the music was different. So yeah, it was a big adjustment. But I spent a lot of hours just making sure I was prepared. Learned all the songs. There was a lot of songs, a bit like Simple Minds. Brian Ferry has a massive back catalogue.
Yeah. Well, he's been
so
doing it
many
for
albums.
so long, and it's since the
Yeah.
70s, I think, or so.
Yeah, since the 70s. And there's all the Roxy Music stuff, and then there's all Brian Ferry solo stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was an adjustment, but it again, it just fitted with my personality, that we got on really well. And
Nice.
it kind of I've been very fortunate that all the gigs that I've got kind of work with how I naturally play anyway, the kind of music that I like. And it just works.
And to know all that stuff, do you have any tricks? Is it charting? Is it just listening constantly? Just are you a person that learns more by just doing it? What is your method to learn all that back catalog?
Well, for me, I chart the songs first.
Okay.
So I have an iPad and a pen, and I chart out the song, the structure of the song.
Right.
Any signature fills, I might write them down.
True.
Any signature parts. So I get
true.
I get like a roadmap of the song. And then I'll listen to it, constantly to get it into my head.
Yeah.
And then I'll play it, a lot. Each song, I could spend a day on one song, just going over and over it, and just really getting each part, each verse, each chorus sounding good. I usually record myself playing to the parts.
Yes, good idea.
So
Good idea.
Yeah, exactly. So I can hear what I really sound like. Because a lot of the time we don't know, do we? We're just playing, thinking, "This sounds good."
Yeah, no.
Like,
I remember doing that. I remember doing that once. And it's like, oh, I'm amazing. And then listen back, and I was like, whoa, that's really not good at all. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the best bits of advice that I got given, was to record yourself, and it's something that I still do today. Cool. Because then you can hear, what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. And, once so I kept recording the songs and making sure that I was happy with them. And once I was happy with them, I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to play. I wasn't too rigid, because obviously you've got to, leave some room for expression. Yeah. And some room. And also the artist, like you might come to rehearsals and play the song, and the artist will say, "Oh, can you not do that? Actually, could you go to the ride there, or could you?" So you got to be, flexible. You got to be malleable with what you've, rehearsed. But the key thing is, just to feel prepared. Yeah, know the songs, know the parts, know they sound good, and then I can walk into the rehearsal room knowing
confident.
That, confident, and go, I'm prepared.
Cool. That is a question I ask a lot, because there are different ways for people to do it, and I just want to see what is your method to learn. Being a working drummer, what is it your method? But thank you for sharing. That's very cool. So staying with Brian. So how was that experience playing with him? I think you were with him for about 3 years or so.
Yeah, I think it was nearly. I think it was nearing 5. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nearing 5. I did a couple of albums with him, and worked very closely with him. Yeah, he's a very unusual person. He's Brian Ferry. He kind of is kind of mysterious, in his kind of way. And but working with him was brilliant, actually. As I said before, we got on really well, and he has a really big thing for detail and getting the parts right, getting the tempos right. He was very sensitive to tempos and having the right tempo and the right
mood,
feel.
Yeah,
the right mood.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy, taking direction and, really trying to get inside their head and work out what it is that they want, because at the end of the day, you are hired hand. You're hired to help with their vision and support it.
Absolutely.
So there was a lot of detail with Brian that went into the tours and the albums and the sound, the sound of your drums. And he was very involved, like Mika was, and like Simple Minds are as well. So those are the kind of artists that I've ended up working with. But with Brian, it was brilliant. We did a lot of we toured all over the world. We did some America, UK, Europe. yeah, it was a great, a really great band, really good musicians. Yeah, we had, we had Guy Pratt on bass at one point, which was great. Who he played with Brian before, and yeah, we headlined Glastonbury one
Oh,
year,
very nice. Oh
which is
yes, that's a big festival. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a huge
yeah,
festival.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've
that was,
never
I'd
been.
say, a highlight.
Yeah, I've never been, but I've seen videos and like, oh, just one day, just to go check it out. Yeah,
Yeah, you have to experience it because there is no other festival like it. It's just,
yeah,
it's so expansive. It's so inclusive. It's got all different styles of music.
mm,
It's like a city. It's not really even a festival. I'd say
yeah,
it's a city. Of music, of different things. It's just yeah. It's got a really great energy, and it's
mm,
as I said, like not yeah, like no other festival that exists. I
mm,
don't think. So that was a real amazing experience playing with him. Doing that. We headlined the we headlined the West Holtz stage. So yeah, playing with Brian was brilliant overall. I had such a good time. Yeah, what a great
yeah.
artist
Very,
again.
very, very cool. Yeah, and I know he's known. I think he's huge in Europe, in Quebec, Canada. I think he's really known, but I think he's known more for the, how can I say this? Maybe the music listener. He's not as. Anyways, that's my thing. Maybe I'm off, but I know people know of him and appreciate it. People who are fans of him basically are really fans of him. Is what I'm trying to say, basically.
Yes, he has a hardcore fan base for
Yes,
sure. He really,
for
really
sure.
does.
So when does that transition go now? I think you're going to Kelly Jones and Stereophonics. Is that what happens?
Well, actually, at the same time as playing with Brian, I actually was also playing with Paloma Faith, who is a
Oh,
UK
right. That's
artist.
true.
Yeah,
That's true.
I was with
Yes.
I played on and off with her for about 2 years. At the
Okay.
same time, I was playing with Brian, and then I went to kind of full time playing with Brian. Yeah, Paloma was fantastic. Again,
Mm,
a fantastic singer and yeah, fantastic person. And yeah, we just yeah, we did some really great shows and great festivals. But yeah, so I was with her for a bit, and then Brian for 5 years, and then after that, then I think I had a little break because I think
Finally,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I need a moment, guys. Just
yeah.
time out.
Time out. I think I had about 6 months or so, and
Did
then
you? Can you slip for three or something like that?
yeah, basically, yeah, and then that was when the Simple Minds call came.
Now
Um,
that is something, because they are huge here, and I'm sure they're huge around the world. Talk to me about that call. I'm curious to know, that story of you receiving a call from Simple Minds.
yeah, it was very surreal.
Yeah.
I got a message from Simple Minds' producer, a guy called Andy Wright, who is still their
Okay.
producer now,
Okay.
and they were making an acoustic album. The greatest hits, but in an acoustic
Version.
style. Yeah, and they were looking for a percussionist. And when I was with Brian Ferry, one of Brian Ferry's kind of remixer producer people that he's worked with is good friends with Jim and Charlie, and
Okay.
so the guy
Yeah.
called Johnson Somerset. In fact, big shout out to Johnson. So Johnson recommended me to Jim and Charlie, and Jim and Charlie are they're big Brian Ferry fans.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
Okay.
they love Brian. So so they were like, yeah, this sounds good, and so I got the message from the producer to come and record with them on the acoustic album. I came to the studio to come and listen to a few of the tracks.
Mhm.
They didn't have any drums on them. They
Okay.
just had the tracks kind of stripped back in a kind of demo form. And they were like, okay, and the producer said, well, I'm going to call Jim. I was like, okay. I'd never met Jim or Charlie. At this point
Yeah.
just
No.
met the
Exactly.
producer. But I spoke to Jim on the phone, and that was the
Okay.
first time I'd sort of met him. And he said, "Oh, nice to meet you. Really looking forward to working with you." And I was like, "Okay,
Mm.
brilliant." And he's like, "Are you free next week?" I was like, yes, I am. My
Good answer.
diary is free." Yeah, exactly. Let me think about that for a minute. So so I literally was like within a week. I went there, brought loads of percussion. So at this point, because the thing is, I do actually play a bit of percussion as well as
Okay.
drums.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm mainly a drummer, but I play, as I said, like a little bit. I'm not a percussionist, but I can
Mhm.
play a bit of percussion. So,
Mhm.
um, So I brought everything with me to the session. Oh my god, my drum kit was huge. You know, the gear I had was huge: congas, timbales, bongos. I had drums as well, kick and snare, and some toms just in case. You know. So yeah, we worked, and then we worked together making the album. So I met Jim and Charlie. They came down, made it in Battersea in London,
Okay.
and we just hit it off. I remember meeting Jim and Charlie for the first time. Gave him a big hug, and we just ended up chatting. Me and Charlie, I think me and Charlie ended up chatting about Vietnam because he'd just been to Vietnam, and so had I.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and then we just talking about music, and we had some mutual friends. Anyway, we just hit it off. So
that's nice. That's
yeah,
nice.
we recorded the album. I think in about 2 weeks, maybe. Okay. And then they said, actually, we're going to do the album live. We're going to tour this album. Do you want to come on tour with us? I was like, oh yeah, yes, I do. That sounds great. So yeah. So then
as the percussionist for the tour.
Yeah, as the percussionist. So I was playing standing up.
Okay.
But I still had, a bass drum,
okay,
a snare, and some toms and cymbals.
Mm-hmm.
I also had some congas and I think some bongos, and I had electronic pads as well because there was some loops and things that were going on. Even though it was acoustic, we still had a bit of the Simple Minds 80s
Simple Minds songs.
Still. Yeah. We still had some
Minds,
of those
sounds, I should say. Sorry, not songs. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still had some of the sounds, and then after that tour, we just decided to give it a go. With me actually on the drums.
Mm-hmm.
And we just rehearsed for a few weeks together, and it just clicked. It was all very organic how it kind of happened.
Sounds like
and it was just like being in a band with with my good pals, with good friends. It is a very family vibe in the band. Everyone gets on really well. So it just, and then that's it. That's the rest of history. It's now been 9 years or something since I've been in the band. So
no, it sounded, and I've seen a couple of interviews, and you guys just seem like good old chums. You just seem to hang out together, and it seems family oriented. It seems just like you guys were, and it was the same thing when we went to see the show. Jim introduced you as the baby of the band.
Which is amazing. I feel very young in this band because I'm actually nearly 40, but I get called the baby. So I'm like, this is great. I love it here.
and the energy was just, you guys just seem to have a lot of fun on stage playing together. So it has that vibe anyways. Is what I'm trying to say. Were you of course I imagine you were a fan. You've known of course Simple Minds before joining them, and how did that I guess my question is, were you a fan before you joined them? Sorry, I sort of got tripped on my question there.
That's okay. No, yes, I mean I was a fan, as in I only really knew the more commercial singles.
Right.
So like Don't You Forget About Me, Alive and Kicking, Waterfront, Sanctify. And what I heard I really liked. So I did like their music, but I didn't know, their back catalogue and their early stuff, the kind of more new wave, arty, experimental, New Gold Dream, or anything like that. So when I got to and when I got in the band and had to learn these songs, I was like, wow, this band is incredible. And so I am a fan. I'm a huge fan now. I'm a bigger fan than I was when I before I joined, for sure. I just think they've got such a unique sound. The way Jim sings and phrases things, and his lyrics are very unusual. And then you got Charlie with his beautiful chiming lush guitar. He's got these odd sounds that sometimes sound like a keyboard. It's just, and then obviously Mel Gaynor before me, amazing drummer, and they've had quite a few. They've had about, I think, 3 or 4 drummers, but just fantastic. The whole band. Mick McNeil, who was the keyboard player from back then, just really superb musicians and musicianship and songs. So yeah, I'm a big fan now, to answer your question. In short.
That's what I figured. Now talk to me about preparing for a tour. Is it a lot of rehearsals, or is it we know the song so much we just need to rehearsal a couple of times? Is it new setups? Talk to me about preparing for a tour, because I guess you finished the tour that was on this year, basically.
Yeah, so each tour is different.
Okay.
There might be a different theme to the tour or a different setup because, some tours might be a festival tour. So it's a festival
Oh, I see.
setup with festival songs, a festival set list. If you're doing an arena show, there's a different production for that. So we normally rehearse for whatever the tour is and whatever the shows are going to be, the size of the show and the nature of the show. So we as a band, obviously we do know the songs, like the classic ones, really well. But we're always trying to improve them or, get them better. So we do a lot of tweaking. So we do rehearse, I would say before a big tour, maybe a week or 2 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It depends. As I said, it depends on what the tour is. I think for this year, I think we did about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Just going over the songs again. Sometimes Jim wants to throw in some new songs, and I mean they're not new to him or Charlie, but they're new to us. Something like an obscure song from 1979 or they've got 21 albums, I think, or 22 albums. So, so there's a lot of songs to pick from. So Jim might want to, Jim likes to keep things, fresh.
Right.
So he'll usually most tours we are learning some new songs.
Well, it makes sense that way because if people are coming to every tour, basically they'll have some new material to listen to. Is what I imagine is, and also to keep you guys fresh and playing other songs than just a regular set list, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. It's all of that. It's just keeping everything fresh, and also as I said, we're always trying to improve things, and we sometimes do change the structures of things. Even the classic songs, we go, let's take out that verse, or that bit's too long, let's add this part, or let's tweak this sound isn't quite right. We're constantly working on every single song, really. And even during the tours, we're constantly still doing the same thing. We'll be changing stuff as we go, or cutting things down.
Okay, and I imagine that was the case this tour, where stuff changed during the tour.
Yeah, stuff did change. Not drastically, but yeah, bits here and there. As I said, structures of songs or elongating certain bits, cutting certain bits, choosing different songs. Sometimes Jim will want to do a song when we're on the road and we have to learn a song while we're on tour, and come in to sound check
and learn it there,
rehearse the song up.
Right.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Well, that keeps you, it keeps you fresh, basically. It keeps you on your toes for the tour.
It keeps us on our toes, which is always a good thing for musicians. Like, you don't want to become complacent, do you? You want to be challenged. You want to be challenged.
No, for sure. Yeah. During the show, because again, I was lucky to finally see you guys in June in Montreal. And of course, you did a drum solo. And for a drummer, that was like, yay, drum solo. And talk to me about prepping for a drum solo or doing a drum solo in that kind of show. What is it? Do you have a lot of preparation? Is there a lot of improvisation? What is it for you that you do?
Well, so for me, there is a lot of preparation.
Okay.
Because it's going to sound really weird, but I'm actually not a fan of playing drum solos. It's not really.
No, that's cool.
I actually prefer just playing songs. That's actually how I feel. But I know that, drum solos always go down well in gigs. The audience loves drum solos. And when I'm playing them in the moment, I am enjoying them, but I wouldn't necessarily choose to do it, if I'm being completely honest. But anyway, so regardless of that, I am doing it and I have to do it. And what I do is I generally come up with a structure for it. So I kind of look at it, with a intro, beginning, middle, end,
right,
and having some dynamics in there, bits where it comes up, bits where it comes down. I think about audience participation. There's a lot that goes into it, and I basically record myself in my studio doing different, I lay down loads of different ideas that I like and think could work. I think it honestly takes me weeks. And my drum solo isn't that long. My drum solo is only 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
It takes me weeks and weeks just to really refine it. I leave some room for improvisation, I come up with definite sections that I know because obviously doing a drum solo in front of thousands of people is nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because, the band have left the stage, the spotlight's on you.
Yeah.
It is so scary. So
I know.
I want to know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? So I'll be so
Yeah.
nervous. So yeah, so I have structure, a structure of what I do. And yeah, so what you saw in Montreal was
Yeah.
a set piece, if you
Okay.
like, that I
Okay.
improvise within that
Within
piece.
piece.
But it
Okay.
will always be roughly 2.5 minutes. It will flow in the same way, generally speaking.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But
So a
I
lot of time taken on it.
but I understand your feeling because also as a song drummer, I consider myself more of a song drummer as well. When the band leaves, when we were kids, you're like, great, I'm behind the kit, nobody sees me, or I'm playing and I'm having fun, and then I'm not the singer or guitar player, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, everybody's looking at me, so I can understand the anxiousness to it. But as a fan, but also as a drummer, you did so well. I mean,
Oh,
the people were just so into it, and you're just kicking the crap out of them and having so much fun. So it's coming out very nicely, even
thank
if it is
you.
2.5 minutes. But it is very cool. Anyways, it got a great reaction here in Montreal, and I
Thank
think
you.
that was the case for the rest of the tour. But but yes, I am curious as people, because there's, again, like learning charts or learning their back catalog. There's a different way of people doing drum solos for different different drummers. So it's interesting that your case, that's the way it is, and I think that's a lot of drummers' case, to work for weeks to get something where we're satisfied, basically, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think some drummers do just improvise, and that's amazing. Well done if you can do that, because
Yeah.
I do not have the nerves. I can't do it. I'm just too scared. So I like to know what I'm doing
Yeah.
and, have a structure. For me, that just, it works. And also, once you find something that works with the crowd,
Yeah.
because I did refine my solo like a little bit on the tour.
Okay.
Made sections longer, or like this tour I added a cowbell section into my solo, which which was great. It was actually my dad's suggestion. My mum and dad actually helped me a lot with my drum
Really
solos.
interesting.
Yeah, they helped me with. I mean, my dad's actually an actor. It's in the entertainment industry, and he has a very good ear and a good eye. And my mum is very musical and has a really good ear as well. And they both kind of help me sort of find something that a non-drummer, a non-musician would enjoy, like an audience member would enjoy.
Right.
That kind of perspective, rather than sometimes I come up with stuff like, this is really cool, and it's like, actually it doesn't translate to the audience.
Yeah, to a big audience, big stage like that. Yeah.
So usually it's just very simple things that actually work in a drum solo, like so I added a cowbell and I added a double kick pedal to my setup in general this year, and I added a double kick section. It's not very fancy at all, but it works in a big arena, and it has a big impact. So it's finding those nuggets, those special things that are, I guess, simple but sound effective. That's what I spent weeks trying to find, basically.
Take it down a notch. So I think I was talking to Jonathan Mover, who is I'm a huge fan, and he used to be drummer for Alice Cooper back in the day. And he was doing all this linear stuff and this, and I think Alice went, I think that solo's going over people's heads because we can't really hear all the small stuff, So what you're talking about is basically, yes, keep it simple, but keep it powerful. Keep it, basically just so that people can hear what you're doing is what you're trying to say. Yeah.
That's right.
Very nice. Cool. Well, it was a great drum solo. I enjoyed it. I clapped hard.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna have a very big head now. I'm gonna have a massive head after this.
The weeks paid off, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
and you probably go check it out. I'm sure it's available on YouTube and on various social media. Basically, you came to Montreal. I think I'm just having to talk about just a little bit. Of course, Don't You Forget About Me is one of the big songs. You keep it at the end. In Montreal, we sang it for 10 minutes, 10 minutes, the chorus. And at one point it was like, this is cool, but I feel bad for the band. And Jim was making jokes of like, our pizza's getting cold. And, can we go now? Are we available to go? And everything. So of course that's a massive song to a lot of people. So playing those hits, how do you keep interested, keep them fresh, keep them energized to play those big hits? Do you still enjoy them? What is your trick for that stuff?
Well, I do still enjoy them every night. I think simply because they get, one of the best reactions of the whole gig. because the crowd, everybody knows the song, so everybody's singing along. All the phones come out, everyone's screaming and jumping up, so you get a great reaction, which actually gives you energy back, because obviously we are playing these these particular songs night after night. And what I've got to try, I think what we all try and remember is that for some people this is the first time they're seeing Simple Minds, and
that was my case.
so you've got to, so that's how you've got to approach it. That for you personally, like, you might be tired of playing the same song all the time, but if everybody else, it's the first time, and also people have paid a lot of money to come to see the show, and the hits are what a lot of people definitely want to hear. So you've got to kind of respect them in that way. And if I ever feel tired, I just think do it for the people, and just try and remember that you got to try and play it like it's your first time you've played the song. And that's what I always try and do. Like, I've just played it for the first time. Like, wow, this song, I love this. What is this? I love this. If you come at it with that headspace, it gets you through the monotony, which it can be sometimes. Yeah, so positive energy, positive headspace on it helps.
Well, it was my first show, and the last comment I'm going to make is you guys were powerful. I did not expect the power behind the band, because I was expecting, they were new wave, then they became sort of popular 80s, and there's more of that more atmospheric pop, electronic at the 2000s and stuff. But you came out and it was like, it was like a power. I could hear the guitars, the bass, the voices, and it was like, whoa. And I did not expect that. It was a very powerful, like, sort of solid rock band. So thank you for that, because that I not only did I hear it, I felt it. You know what I mean?
Oh, whatever. Well, I'm glad, because that's what we've worked very hard to do, is to come out on stage, and we're a band, and we're here to and we still love it, and we still care. Jim and Charlie, that's one of the greatest things about working with them, is that gives me, that I just feel really inspired by, is the fact that they still care, they still want to get it right. They've been doing it so long. You might think they're sort of that you might lose your passion or your love for it, and they haven't, and they want to get better, they want to work harder, they want to make sure that we give the best show that that we can give, and we always turn up, and we always give 100%, and that's something that the whole band has, that ethos. And that's why I think it works. We're all of the same ethos and of the same mind. That this is we really want to do our best. So I'm glad that came across, because, as I said, it's something that we're all very aware of.
Oh, is this because the start? I think it was Modern English, and I love Modern English.
Oh yeah, they were great, weren't they?
Great. I can't remember the singer's name, but he's so cool. But when you guys came out, I was like, whoa, okay, it was like another level, just went up, and so yeah.
Well, Jim's fantastic, isn't Jim? Is just, what a front man Jim is.
Man,
he just grabs you, doesn't he?
Yeah, and still has fun, and still jumps around, and still and still has the voice. Can recognize.
Does his lunges. Voice. He's got some great dance moves as well.
Yeah,
I'm always, he's got the best dance moves. I would say to him, Jim, I don't know how you're doing that. Those lunges. How does he do that? I can't do that.
Yeah, and no, for sure. And he still has those little interesting dance moves where he's it's kind of interacting with people. Yeah, for sure. I was as an 80s kid, I was seriously gravitated towards that band as an 80s kid, and sort of follow it to my teen years. So thank you so much for the show. It was an amazing show, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
And thank you to the entire band, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming.
I would keep going with Simple Minds, but I have to move on, because basically
no problem. There's a lot there.
So, exactly. So talk to me about let's do one last thing, if you don't mind, just because I know some of my audience will want to know about this, but basically let's talk just quickly about your gear, just to know what you're using, basically. And so maybe people have a better idea. So with the magic of the interwebs, please bear with me. So we're back. So let's talk about your setup, because it's quite interesting. Very quickly, of course, you've got all the Zildjian cymbals, sizzles, rides. Basically, your choice for Zildjian. You have a preference for Zildjian. For is it your sponsor? Is it talk to me about that company?
Yeah, so I'm endorsed with Zildjian. I've been with them since I was 17, since I was in the faders. Basically, I've been endorsed with them, which has been great. I generally, so for hi-hats, I like either like the K Custom Darks, or I think I'm currently using the New Beats hi-hats.
Yes, very good. Yes.
I love those. So I got 15-inch hi-hats that I've started using maybe 2 years ago. Love those. I've got a K Custom Dark Ride, a 20-inch. I usually use A Custom Crashes because they're great. They project, they cut through the mix. They cut through the mix of, during the show. They're they're really, really good. So, and then I've got a sizzle cymbal as well. What else have I got? I've got quite a few cymbals. I have got a K Custom Dark. A K Dark Crash.
This one here.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. What is that? Medium thin crash. There we go. Yeah. So I use that, and then 2 A's, and then an A Custom Sizzle. So a few cymbals.
And the K's and the A's they mix quite well. I have sort of the same setup, and the K's sort of explode and then fade away quickly, and the A's kind of are higher pitched and kind of cut through better, especially in those those guitar parts and so forth. So I can imagine that's a good choice. Now I'm curious to see a gong drum.
Yes. Well, actually, I should also say as well that I'm actually on my website there. It says Tama. I'm actually with British Drum Company now.
Oh, okay.
So I will be updating that soon. But I've just joined them this year. Basically. Okay. So it's still quite new. So I play British Drum Company now, which are made in Britain, made factories in Stockport, near Liverpool. And yes, I do have a gong drum. So I've got the same drums I've got there, but they're just British Drum Company.
British Drum Company. Okay.
Yeah. So, the gong drum. I love having a gong drum. It's it's like a huge mounted bass drum. That I think they use it in orchestras and big. It's a concert drum essentially, and it just sounds amazing through a PA. You hit it and the whole floor shakes, and it's amazing. I absolutely love it. And it works with the Simple Minds sound, having, dum ba ba, for waterfront.
I was about to ask you. Okay.
Yeah, I use it for waterfront. I use it as more like an accent, as like stabs or hits and accents and things, rather than, sometimes in my fills.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you would use them in your fills as well. Interesting.
Sometimes, like the end, instead of using the floor tom, might use the gong.
All right.
So right. But I use it a fair amount during the show, and obviously Belfast Child.
Yeah.
The boom. So I use it for that.
Right. I see. Okay.
Which is great. So and then I've got the gong drum, and then in terms of toms, I've got a 10-inch tom on my left over there. Rack tom, and then there you go. And then I've got.
I'm trying to go over the dots, but okay.
Yeah. So 10-inch tom, and then a 12-inch rack, and then a 16-inch floor tom, and an 18-inch floor tom as well.
Yep.
And my drums are maple. It's the Legend series, British Drum Company series called Legend series. Which are maple.
Now it's interesting that your rack toms are so separate. I imagine basically sometimes you would do sort of an accent on the left and then come rolling down on the right side. Is that the idea? Or
yeah, that's it. I mean, I've got this here as well at home. It's my home. I've got my British Drum Company kit here. So I have the 10 over there, and that was because I wanted to have 2 pads in front of me. As you can see, I've got electronic drum pads. I'm endorsed with Yamaha Electronics, Yamaha DTX, and I just liked having 2 pads in front of me because there's a lot of electronic drum sounds in the in Simple Minds and in the Simple Minds set that I play. So I had to put my 10-inch tom somewhere because it couldn't go there. It was just so it was just trial and error, and I was like, oh, it could go here. I just kept it there, and actually I quite like it. It's a bit unusual. It makes me do kind of more interesting fills because it's not the usual setup, if that makes sense. It makes me approach things differently, which I quite enjoy. But the rack and the floor and the 2 floors are in normal position, I'd say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you've got some more pads here, basically for Yamaha Electronics DTX Multi 12. I imagine for more sounds during the set list, basically.
Well, actually, no. So.
Oh no.
No. So my sounds are all in the DTX 900, which I think you can see there. It's actually it's the black brain.
Here.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the brain.
So all my sounds are actually in there.
Okay.
And then the Yamaha DTX Multi 12 is actually a MIDI trigger. Because we were running Ableton for some of the songs have got, track, as in, like Love Song, that synth loop at the beginning. There's some things, key parts that we need to be on track.
Okay.
I mean, like we're all playing live, obviously, but like our keyboard player Eric only has a certain amount of hands. He can't play every single part. You know what I mean?
That's true. There's
a lot of loops and drum boxes and things. So that Ableton, so I'm controlling Ableton there.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. So kind of, so running the show, I've got start, stop. I've got change scene. Sometimes we change scenes, and so there's a lot going on. My rig there. I've got a little computer screen there as well, so I can see what's happening on the Ableton. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and do you have a sequencer? Do you have a metronome? I imagine when you're playing those bits.
Yeah. Well, when we have bits that are sequenced, with the drum loops or synth loops. Yes, I've got click for those parts. For those songs. Yes, and I should say as well, on the drum front, I do have 2 snares as well, which you can see there. I've got to mention my snares.
Yeah,
got 2 snares. Yeah, I've got 14x8, and I used to play my Ludwig Black Beauty. I had a 70s Black Beauty, which was lovely. 14x6.
Nice. Yeah,
love it. But I'm now using British Drum Company. It's called the Aviator snare. It's this snare here actually, which is lovely. It's aluminium.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and then I've got a 14x8. Yeah, this one here, which is, I think it's maple. Yeah, it matches my kit.
Okay.
And then the bass drum is 20x18.
Interesting.
So quite small.
Yeah, to get more of an attack, I imagine less if you go 22, it's more round. But I guess if you go smaller, you get more of an attack.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit more punchy and more attack. That's exactly right. I do love the sound of a 22. But it's also I like having my toms at a nice height. Yeah, a little bit lower as well. So it's a mixture of the 2 things. But 20, a 20-inch kick just works for me. So
yeah. No, I know. I have this Pearl kit down in my studio that I adore, but it's this big rock kit with 22x18, and the rack toms are almost like metal-ish, sort of. And I'm like, if only it was a 20 reduced. So I understand what you're trying to say. And last question. So the snare that you have on your left side would be used for what songs, or was it effects, or different songs that need a deeper snare? Is that the idea?
Yeah. So I have my main snare tuned, I'd say middle. It's not high. It's kind of in the middle. And my second snare is tuned lower. It's kind of baggy. So some songs do need that kind of sound. Some songs need the higher snare. So it just gives me more sounds to play with, really. And sometimes I do use the snare 2 as an accent as well, as part of the groove in some songs. Yeah, so it comes in handy having 2 snares.
Very nice. And quickly, of course, you've got a tambourine in the front.
Oh yes, can't forget that. Yes, I'm endorsed with LP.
Nice.
And yes, I've got some percussion bits on there. So the tambourine. I've got some chimes as well. So the Chinese L626 or something. They sound amazing. And then I've also got what else have I got on there? It's LP. Oh, I've got a cowbell as well. You can't see on there, but I've got a cowbell mounted on my bass drum.
Okay.
And as you can see there, I've got loads of electronic stuff going on. So I've got about 6 pads. I've got a kick trigger on the floor. I've got 3 acoustic triggers. So the acoustic triggers are on snare 1, snare 2, and on my kick drum as well. It's a lot of electronics going on in this gig. Because obviously Simple Minds have got 21 albums, and I've got to try and replicate the sounds of those albums live. So Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you for taking the time to go throughout your tours. And there's a lesson, kids. Learn your metronome. Practice your metronome.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you, Cherisse. Okay. I'll just stop sharing for now. But thank you for doing the tour with us.
That's okay.
Okay. So moving on to the last few questions. Teaching. You teach, and I believe you love to teach. What is your philosophy? What is it about teaching that you like, so forth and so on? How do you approach teaching for other drummers?
Well, I've been teaching for about 10 years. I guess on and off, in between tours, whenever I was at home. It's something that I just naturally started doing. And I just think that it's just really great to be able to share the knowledge that I've learned over these years of touring and recording and everything. And to be able to pass it on to other drummers and hopefully inspire other drummers, to learn, new things and try different things. It's just something that I've always just really enjoyed. I find it really rewarding. And I've really lovely students, which is lovely as well. And I just love I love connecting with people, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to share the passion of drums, and it inspires me. I get inspired by my students in turn. So it's a nice exchange, and it's really it's nice to see when someone's improving, and just to see someone's passion, and and when people light up, or people have had a great lesson, it fills them with joy, and I love that.
So talking about teaching, you were saying about connecting with your students, which I totally understand. What are for you the fundamentals to teach new students?
I think, well, I guess the fundamentals would be having a good work ethic and practicing. I teach all levels of students, all different abilities. So some who are like advanced, and some who want to become a session drummer and be professional. Some who just play for a hobby. Some who've just picked up the drums and just fancied, learning. So the fundamentals really are having fun and practicing, and just learning the basics of the drums. So drum beats, fills, some rudiments. But making it fun, because rudiments can be a bit dull at times.
They can be dry, yes. They can be a little dry.
So it's just, like trying to inject some fun in there, like using them, say around the kit and coming up with beats with them or fills, and having fun is the main goal of my lessons when I teach, to be honest.
Cool. Very cool. And of course, being a teacher, I'm sure you will preach for that connection with a teacher student. With today's technology, there's so much information, Instagram, YouTube. What are your thoughts on now that so much information for drummers now on social media, YouTube, and so forth?
Well, I think it's amazing, actually, because I wish I had that when I was learning the drums. I mean, you can literally learn anything, look up anything. How do I do this? Double paradiddle. Oh, here you go. Like, we didn't have that. We had books and some old, videotapes that you had to watch. I mean, I was lucky because I had a drum teacher, so I had, a source of information, and we could exchange ideas and things. But I think it's incredible what the kids can access this these days. But I think even with that access, I think it is important to have a good drum teacher, particularly if you want to be professional, or if you want to just learn the drums properly and just make sure you're playing with the right the right technique, holding the sticks correctly, things like that the internet can't really give you, that personalized, tailored lesson, essentially. But it is great for learning, but it is great as a source of information, for different things.
For sure. Your kids are lucky, because I remember, it's funny that you say that, because I actually had to record a song where the drummer was doing a stick twirl, and I wanted to learn stick twirl, and I recorded it on VHS, and I had to go stop, play, stop, play, stop, play to figure out what was the trick he was doing. And
so now they can just just go, oh, slow-mo.
No slow-mo. minus 50. Okay, good. Yeah.
It's crazy. Honestly, it's mad. Yeah, I'm jealous of the kids now. I really wish we had that. But then again, I think it was such a simpler time, actually,
Yeah,
as much as sometimes having all the information can be a bit, like overwhelming and
it is.
overload.
Yes.
So in a way, because it was more limited, it
Yeah.
was not easier, but there was less to digest in a sense, and you picked things. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was a different
And
approach, which sometimes, which actually did us well, in the end. But
yeah, and also I
yeah,
think there's an appreciation to it, I think if you would go and keep your money and buy that album at the end of the week and that album was your life for the next weeks of learning and listening and trying to imitate the drummer, compared to today where it's like, oh, I'll just go on from YouTube and check this song out. I think there's
yeah,
an appreciation we had back then that's maybe
yeah.
a little lost today, but that's, of course, that's my bias. But yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. And talk about, so thank you for sharing that, and talk about another project that's not on your website, but you were talking about film score, that you did a film score uh, in the past. Talk to me about that project.
Yeah, I just I mean, I played on my first film score, which
Okay.
I've never done before. I've never done played on any kind of filmic music.
Hmm.
So that was a real experience. And that
Mm.
was with composer Lorne Balfe, who is a Hollywood a composer. He does Mission Impossible. He
Oh,
does
okay.
all the big movies. Yeah. Um, and he called me up and we did the session in Abbey Road Studio One.
Oh,
um
wow,
and it
very
was with
nice.
with the London Philharmonic Orchestra. That's a
Oh,
150-piece orchestra with the choir and everything, and me in I mean, it was incredible.
mm.
And I got there, I didn't know what it was for or anything, and then I see Marvel everywhere and I'm like, Marvel, what's this? And it turned out it was for the Avengers, so I played
Oh,
on the Black Widow soundtrack.
nice, very
So
nice.
that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. So I thought I'd just share that experience, because it was a real privilege. And after that, I also did some work with Lorne, working on season 1 of Wheel of Time, which is on Amazon. It's a TV series.
I'll check it out. Okay.
It's called Wheel of Time. I think there's another couple of series now, but that's an Amazon Prime thing. I think it was actually the most expensive TV show ever made, which is like, okay, amazing. Yeah. So it was nice to do something different and play with an orchestra, and have to add to that. Just a different skill set, and it involved some reading as well. But Lorne's quite unconventional, which I really liked. He didn't want me to read too much. He wanted me to just play from my
Feel
heart
it.
and just
Okay.
play how I play, basically. So it was great to work with him.
And it was a drum set or percussion or a mix of both, or what was it that you did exactly?
It was drum kit. I was just
Okay.
on drum kit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
But yeah,
Cool.
playing a lot of floor tom stuff, a lot of
Mhm.
toms, kind of more, obviously it's film music, so it's kind of
Yes.
more atmospheric, and then
Mhm.
speeding up. Action scene is, building up the pace and then coming down again, stuff like that. So it was a different approach that I'd never really done before, and I really enjoyed the challenge of it. So
Nice. And more symphonic. Do you have the movie going on as you were doing it, or
I
is it?
did. There were scenes of Scarlett Johansson falling over or whatever it was. There were screens for everybody to see bits of the movie. So it was a pretty insane experience, and particularly because I didn't know what film it was or what we were even doing. I mean, I
Very
knew
good.
what we were doing, like musically, but I didn't know what film it was for. So that was I was like, oh my god, okay, I better play well.
Very nice. Very nice. It has to be a very different setting, of course. And in Abbey Road with the Philharmonic, I mean, my God, wow, that could have been a dream come true, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Okay, so let's close it up quickly. Advice for drummers, younger, older, anybody who wants to do this as a career or for fun. What advice would you give? So forth and so on.
Okay, so I think I would say, practice, practice, practice. Practicing is really, really important. That you've got to learn your craft. So you got to eat, breathe, and sleep drums.
Mm.
Or whatever instrument it is that you want to play. But for drummers, and any instrument, it's like, you want to just really learn as much as physically possible, play as much as physically possible. If you can get a teacher, that would be ideal. Someone who can show you new things, someone who can push you and challenge you. That is, I think, really important, having a good teacher. And for me, that really helped with becoming a professional drummer and working on things to become a session drummer. I worked on things, like the click and my feel and all that kind of stuff. So having a good teacher is key, and also be in as many bands as physically possible, play as many different musical styles as possible. I think, for me growing up, I was in loads of different bands playing different genres. I am a rock drummer at heart, but I did play jazz, I did play blues and soul and funk and heavy metal, so yeah, getting out there. And also, if you can go and talk to people, when you're at gigs and things, go and I hate the term networking because I think it's just an awful term,
but it's it's part of it. And I think as drummers, being probably more shy, I think that's the hardest part for some of us, I think, is the networking and talking to people and getting to know which bands are in town and that sort of thing, I think.
Well, the thing is, I just think don't call it networking. I don't like the word. It just sounds, it's very cold, and it just sounds very like network. It's not like that. Yeah, what I like to say is just go and chat to people,
hang out,
and go and make some friends. That's the way. That's all networking is. That's it. So yeah, put yourself out there. And I know it's hard if you're a shy person. I was actually really shy as a teenager. I didn't speak that much actually, but I would go to the UK drum show used to happen every year. So I would go to that and use that as an experience of building up my social skills and going up to people and just talking to them, and just see it as making friends, because that's the thing. The music industry, it's all word of mouth, really. So it is a lot to do with who you know. And the only way you get to know people is by talking to them. so it's I'd suggest, if you can, try and work on those social skills. And also, if you do get gigs and you do get work, it's just be easy to be around, because that's one of the most important things is people, like, you're in confined spaces for long periods of time. And if you're hard to get on with, people just won't want you in. They won't want you in their band, no matter how good you are. So if you're difficult, you're not going to work in the industry, and that's just how it is. But the main thing is you've got to be able to do the job as well. So really work hard, learn your craft. I believe, well, for me, that if you're passionate and you're hardworking, then those two things combined, then you have way more chance of being successful. And that's it, really, putting in the hard work. But then, in saying all of this, also have fun, enjoy it. It is music. It's just the drums. It's like that's the reason we play in the first place, is to enjoy it. So to not to forget that either. But and the other bit of advice I just have to put in there, but I mentioned before, is to record yourself. That is one of the best tools I've ever had. Record yourself. Because then you can hear everything. Your playing is under the microscope, and you can really see how you can improve, and also see how good some things are and what needs work. So that is a really important thing. And also, another thing I have to add is social media. Well, social media is having a presence on social media is really important. And it's a great platform, and you got to look at it that it's free advertising, and it's a tool that you can use to get your promote your band, promote your drumming, put up your best videos, your best photos, and it's a great platform for you to use. So I would suggest that use your social media and get to grips with it. And
and to be yourself in social media. Just not try to be someone else, but just basically be yourself. If you're kooky, go for it. If you're dark, go for it.
Exactly. The more authentic you are, actually, the more that people actually will connect with you anyway. So the more yourself you can be, the better, I would say.
Fantastic advice. Thanks so much. I think we'll stop there. You've been more than generous. Thank you so much, Cherisse. You've been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Again, I thank you for your time. If people want to reach out to you, lessons, drumming, whatever, where can they reach you?
So I'm currently taking on some new students. So you can email me, which is lessons@cherisseosei.com, or you can DM me on Instagram, or Facebook. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials. So you can find me on there. I'm at Cherisse Drums on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, you'll find me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best for the holiday season, all the best for future projects, and thank you, Cherisse. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. So thank you.
All the best to you, and hopefully see you soon.
See you soon, and Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas, of course.
Happy holidays.
Is there a saying you guys say in the UK that, or is it just Happy Holidays?
Well, we don't. We say Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas. We don't really say Happy Holidays. That's an American thing.
Okay. Oh, that's an American thing.
Or
Okay,
Canadian or American.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say it in French. Joyeux Noël et joyeuses fêtes.
Joyeux Noël.
All the best. Ciao.
All the best.
Thanks so much for joining us. That is it for me for this 12th season. Thanks so much for joining us during the season. As we just said, all the best holidays, joyeuses fêtes, joyeux Noël to everyone, and come back next year for another season of Drumfills Kafé. All the best. Ciao.